This is my $1,000 1966 V8 Mustang. And honestly, that's all I really know about this car. I got this thing for so cheap from a tow company who told me it had been abandoned on someone's commercial property. I don't know who owned it, how long it had been sitting there, or what had been done to it before I got it. So let's get into it. Okay, so with the car now in the garage, let's just take a walk around and I'll show you the car. You've probably seen the worst part already, which is these taillight covers. I don't know what these are or who thought this was a good idea, but they've taken out the original 3 style lights at the back of every Mustang and covered it with this full panel. As we can see, they have these Allen head bolts the whole way across, which I'm assuming they've drilled through this rear taillight panel, and we're going to have to weld them holes up when we bring it back to standard. Still have the original bumper, which is bent in the rear, but other than that, there's no rust or anything back here that is any cause of concern. And we do have what is left of an old NHRA sticker. On the back window here, we have another NHRA sticker. And I originally thought these were like the markings from a drag strip, but I've now figured out that these must be the date this was brought into the tow yard. And an NK stands for no key, which will explain the damage we'll look at in a minute. Let's go further down this side. The body itself is quite good. Very little rust. We do have some rust bubbling through here. Other than that, the actual roof of the car is completely solid. Obviously all the paint is completely faded from just sitting out in the sun for years. And then this driver's door is completely destroyed from, I'm assuming, people trying to pry in because they had no key, so they needed some way to get into the car. And they've just separated the outer door skin from the inner and then just forced a way in that way. And now this door will not close. The only thing I've done to this car since I've got it is there was a ratchet strap, you can see inside, that was holding this door in, and that is it. This front fender is in good condition. Again, all of the paint is gone. This side of the front end is okay, but there is some damage the other side we'll get to in a minute. And this shows us our engine we have inside, which is the 289. Front windscreen, all good. Looking through our cowl panel, no rust under here, which is great. This is a common area where these all rust through, and they're a nightmare to fix, so I'm very happy about not having to tackle that. Now moving on to the other side, which you think would be the good side because this door is damaged, but this car doesn't really have a good side. Again, we have no rust in our quarters, factory wheels again with our Cooper Cobras, no rust on this pillar. Again, the roof is looking good. This again is a door, a non-factory door, or not the original door of the car, because we can see the old black paint coming through here, but this was not sprayed very well. And this front fender, again, completely faded, but there's also some damage at this front end that's all bent in. Now, the only damage you have is at the front, where we have it dented here just below the grille, and then obviously the hood where they had to pry up to get in. But one thing I am able to see through the hood, and is the main reason I bought this car, is the dual inline carbs. We can just about see. We can see there's an air filter on one. I don't know what they are, if they're Edelbrock or Holly from here, but right in front of it as well is some electronic ignition. So with that, NHRA stickers, and then there's some things in the interior as well. Tells me that this car was definitely modified at some point. So I'm just hoping that it's done well, and I don't know, maybe there's more work done to the engine inside, but the first thing I want to look at is this engine to see if it's worth saving, if it turns over, if we can get it started. The first thing we have to do is to get this hood off. So I can just about get to the release latch down here. It does move free, but the hood doesn't want to go out. Oh, trick to getting these up, and I don't want to move, is to pull backwards this way, but it's also pulling off. There we go. Okay, so first look at the engine, and it looks to be complete. Here we can see the two carb that I was talking about. Mustang nut at the top, kind of cool. Overall, there doesn't seem to be anything missing. Seems like everything's here. It's complete. We have a clutch fan, a clutch fan, which moves. This should have a shroud, but doesn't, and is missing its belt. I'm not turning too easy. I have to get a breaker bar on the engine and see if it'll spin. Got a battery, which is, I'm assuming, dead. Okay, so actually 2022 is not as old as I thought this car was sitting. So maybe somebody tried to get it started a while ago and couldn't, and that's why it was abandoned. But I don't know. I can't decide if I feel better because it's 2022 or if I feel worse. But I suppose we'll find out. Starter solenoid looks to be fairly new. Obviously not original, but replaced at some point. Don't see any rust around the back firewall. Okay, so let's just get into it, start digging into this thing. First of all, I want to see what carburetors are these. I don't know how well you can see that on camera, but that is definitely an L-Brock, and I hope the front is the same. Yeah, just hard to see on camera. There's an L-Brock sticker in there too. And we should be able to look and see what numbers these are. This one is 8867 and the rear is 8867. Okay, obviously we have aftermarket valve covers too, with the kind of extended wing nuts to open them, which is very like 80s, 90s, I think. Something that's interesting is there's all these upgrades: dual carbs, intake, valve covers, electronic ignition, I haven't looked at yet. And then we have a power braking system, but with a single master cylinder, which usually people who are upgrading anything with these cars, one of the first things they do is put a dual master cylinder on. But just interesting that it hasn't been done. We have an overflow tank for the radiator and a funnel in the engine bay, which is never a good sign. The radiator looks to be in okay condition. I wonder if I could get closer to see if there's a brand on this intake. I can just see the start of something there. Often, O-F-F-E-N. There's anything at the rear. Okay, so let me give this a wipe. Our intake is an Offenhausen. I don't know, I can't really see the camera right now. You can probably see better than me. But I'll look this up and put it up on the screen. That's our intake. So I don't know anything about this engine. My guess has been from the start that the engine is seized or is knocking or something is definitely wrong with it, just because of how cheap I got this car. So first things first, I just want to put a socket on the crank and see if I can get this to move at all. Let me just try turning this over by hand on the off chance we get lucky. Oh, there is movement. Okay, it's moving. Okay, but is this just the water pump moving or is the crank moving? No, the crank's not moving. Okay, let's get this fan off and then let me get down to the crank bolt. Okay, we have have the fan off, which means this pulley is just sitting here. I might take it off too. The more I look at this car, the more I think somebody put time and effort into it and then give up. And I'm assuming it was in 2022, same as the battery, because there is some new things. It looks like a new starter solenoid too, where people had put work into it and then just stopped. So I'm wondering what they found that made them stop that I still haven't found yet. Anyway, on the off chance I can move this by hand. Nope, let's get a socket on that. Oh, small movement. That does not want to move. Okay, let's go the other way. No. It does not want to move. Okay, with the crank not moving, I think well, first let's look over this engine a little bit more. Let's check the oil, coolant, pull all the spark plugs, and then I'll probably drop in some oil or some PB blaster or something into the spark plugs holes. See if we can free the engine up. If not, I'll have to get an inspection camera and go in and see if we can see what's actually going on with the piston. I think first things first, let's check the oil and the coolant. So we'll check the coolant first while we're here. Oh, this coolant cap is stuck. What are we thinking? No, it is bone dry and full of sludge. Look really here. The core all looks plugged up. Nothing but flaking rust inside. So this has definitely been sitting for probably years. Oh, there's 2 free cores. Okay, so definitely needs a new radiator. I think we'll have to pull the water pump with the thermostat housing to see what that looks like. But let's check the oil next. Okay, we have full oil up to the mark. Looks black and chunky. Well, okay, yeah, big chunk of something there. Okay, that didn't feel too bad. I don't know. There's oil anyway, which is a good sign. I think next, let's just pull all the spark plugs out, see what they look like. Hopefully no rust. And then we'll put something in each of these cylinders to try and free this engine up. I'm actually going to remove this cross brace just to give myself a little bit more room around this distributor. Now we can get a good look at this electronic ignition distributor block. I have no idea what brand this is. If anybody knows, please let me know. But let's get all of our plugs off and then we'll get our spark plugs out. Okay, plugs off. You can see all of our spark plugs. Let's just take them out. The number 1 spark plug looks okay, just like a standard old spark plug. No rust, which is good. Almost looks a little bit wet. Let's move on. I'm going to get the rest of them out. Okay, so we have all the spark plugs removed. These are from the passenger side. Number 1 on the right, number 4 on the left, and There's nothing to really look at. They all look okay, no major rust, which is what I was worried about. Maybe some of them running slightly lean, some others looking slightly rich, but nothing major over here. They are all Autolite 46s across all 8. And then this side looks pretty much the exact same, except for, as you can see here, number 6 spark plug just is a lot dirtier at the top, and that is because it did not have a boot on its lead. So we'll have to get a boot for that, but nothing that's really making me worry about these spark plugs. So I went ahead and put some Marvel mystery oil in each of the cylinders, and I actually have PB Blaster here too. I might spray some in. I don't know which is better, so I'm just going to put both in, and we will leave that overnight. But I'm going to have to take a look at something I'm dreading, which is this interior, because this whole garage now absolutely stinks of, I don't know, mold and urine. So there's definitely something coming from in the interior here, but I need to get into this trunk because the smell back here is awful. Somebody's obviously tried to get into the lock before and failed, and I don't have a key for it. I might try the screwdriver just to see if I can brute force that. If not, I will drill that out, but there's something really bad in that trunk I need to get to. So some PB Blaster in this, and then let's start tackling that interior. I went ahead and sprayed all the cylinders with PB Blaster as well, but actually before I start the interior, I want to get a look at these carbs. Okay, some of the filter missing. Don't know if that's mice because it's bent here, so it looks like somebody's pried up on this and bent it. Take a look at these. You can see 4 barrels, everything looks clear. Nothing major really to see down in here. The fuel supply line is a bit like homemade, I'll put it. The fuel filter here, completely pinched line up to a right angle. I'm not even sure what to call these fittings. And then just as many hose clamps as we can put on. I should check the other side to see if the throttle is free. Okay, this is wire tied up here, so that's just constantly open. These carbs will probably have to come off for a rebuild, which is the bit I'm dreading the most, because apart from like lawnmowers, chainsaws or motorbikes, I have no idea about carbs, so this will be not 1 but 2 learning experiences. Let me just go over this side and see if the throttle is freed up. This return spring is going to do nothing, and the other side is tied to the wrong place, but looks like it might do something. And our throttle linkage is completely stuck. Okay, so I'll give this whole thing a spray down. I hope that frees up. Some PB Blaster. No, okay, so maybe we'll give it a couple of taps. Let that sit for a bit and then give it a couple of taps with the hammer. And if we can't get it free, I might just remove it from the pedal in case it's the pedal that's stuck. But like I say, it's probably these carbs. Okay, now finally, unfortunately, time to get into the interior. So let's look at everything we have going on in the interior. Starting with driver's seat, which, well, neither upholstered, other than that, isn't bad. We'll get to all the VHSs in a minute. The rear seats look okay. Let's see what goodies we have down here. So, all 3 pedals at different heights. Stiff clutch quick movement, brake. A lot of spider webs. And this throttle that we know is stuck from the other side, which again I'm assuming somebody else has looked at because we have the pedal off that. Somebody else has probably tried to free that up. I wonder is this the bolt? Anyway, so we have throttle pedal. Leave this bolt down here. Very oily Mustang. I don't know what this cap is off. A cap of some sort. Bracket. Okay, let's see. Let's go around the passenger side and then we'll start to look at all the gauges and stuff here too. Nothing really free in here. The carpet actually looks like it's in good condition. It just stinks. So maybe it's something we can clean off. Passenger seat. Looks good to clean off well. I'm assuming claw marks or bite marks from mice at the top, but not too bad. Back seat. Again, carpets and mats all look okay. They just stink. And the rear seats definitely a good clean, but aren't in good condition. Sitting in the passenger seat now, you can see the glove box is stuck down because we're missing a bolt on the latch. We have an old service book in there, we'll pull out in a minute. We have the cassette radio. I'm not going to question where these beads came from. And we can start to see how good the tack and shift light install here is, with just hose clamp on top of hose clamp. We have the ignition, but actually I do have a key for. We still have our old lighter switch. There's a button underneath the dash, I have no idea what it does. And then underneath this side we have another on off switch, which is emergency and flasher, which I'm assuming is like an aftermarket headlight relay or something. And then again, something you don't want to see is just a lot of cut wires hanging down, which doesn't fill me full of confidence. Okay, so we have our fuel, oil pressure, speedometer we can barely see past the shift light, and then we have amps and temp at the very end. Underneath here we have, sorry for the lights, we have lights on the left, I think wipers after that, but it's stuck behind the tack. I have no idea what that does. That'd be choke. I don't know, I'm gonna have to figure that out. The button that I have no idea what this does. And then our parking brake, which is completely seized. Okay, I'll have to come back to that. And now moving into the back seat, you can see we just have all these old VHSs. I wonder which the newest one of these is. And that might give us an idea how long this has been sitting for. I think it'll be easier if I just take all these out and then we'll look at them outside the car. So we have all the VHSs out, and I don't know what the majority of these are, but if anybody knows what the oldest is here, let me know. And of course obviously Scarface as well is another one. But yeah, that is everything cleared out from the inside. And I'm actually going to have to put a mask on because the smell in here is so bad. But I've looked up one way to get into the trunk is by pulling out this rear seat, and then I can actually get the whole way through the trunk with a couple of extensions, and there's a couple of bolts at the back of this lock I can just unbolt, and that'll let me get into the trunk. So I'm going to put a mask on because the smell in here is so bad, which I still haven't really figured out why. I'm assuming when I pull these seats it's going to be nothing but mouse nests or something underneath. But I'm going to get these rear seats out and then let's get into the trunk to see what it looks like. These rear seats should just lift up Okay. It's not connected to anything. Doesn't look too bad under there. Let me get this out. Oh my god. The mask had to go on. Good news is everything looks solid around here. Oh my god. This seat actually looks really good too. You should clean up very good. Okay. Starting to see where some of the smell is coming from. I don't know how clear it is on camera, but there's just stacks of Budweiser instant noodles or something. Right down the back of this is them bolts I need to undo. So I'm just going to go and struggle to get that done, and hopefully the next thing you see is the trunk opening from the outside. It is terrible in there, but trunk is finally open. I completely stink of whatever is also in this trunk, but finally have access to the inside. And just be lucky you can't smell this. Let's take a look at what we have. A lot of gas cans, which I don't know, and then starter fluid, that 3 brake fluid, starter fluid, right. So Budweiser, gas and starter fluid, which is not good signs of what you want to see in your car. And I think all these old food containers is what the smell is in here. So I'm just going to start turning into this, take out what I don't know if I want to keep anything. Maybe the starter fluid, sounds like I'll need it. But I'm just going to start binning things and get rid of all this. Probably everything in here is moldy and smelly, and then come back to it. I actually just bought a gas can too, so I could bring gas to this car to put in the carbs. So now I have 3 more. There's also a transfer pump in here. This is kind of the perfect setup to siphon gas. The wires here, you can just connect to a battery, pull out of the gas tank, and straight into these. I don't know if that's what's going on, or they actually were draining this tank, but I don't know. Anyway, let's continue clearing this out. Oh my god. Okay. I don't know if I can actually show this on YouTube, but not what you want to find in the car either. I don't know what was going on here with all this gas, Budweiser, and then that, but I think it's probably time to get some gloves and then come back to this. I'm not touching that with my bare hand. I am back with gloves. Let's get rid of this thing first. I'm sort of tired of the rest of this, so I might just put this on a time lapse, and hopefully when you come back, everything here is empty, or at least organised. Something I did see is my other air cleaner, so that's good. I just hope the nut for the top is here somewhere. But yeah, I'm going to put this on a time lapse and just clear out this whole trunk.
Another day, another break in the promise was always a pattern of mine.
Again, don't think I can show this on YouTube, but similar to the last one, except this one's been eaten by mice and rats. Finally getting to what I think is the smell of old food. This is probably KFC from about 7 years ago. All in here. So, camera's about to die. Hopefully, we'll come back. And this will just be clear. I have one trash bag full, 2 more filled, more boxes and stuff. 3 bags of quick Crete. I don't know what they're doing there, but they were fun to lift out. I think it still has the original carpet underneath and the spare wheel bag, but I actually can't describe the smell coming from this trunk. So we're going to stop the time lapse, and when we come back, hopefully everything here is just clean. I'm going to also go through all the maybe good stuff that we find here too. And of course we have one more of these things that I obviously can't show. At this point I started looking through the good parts, and really apart from a bottle jack in a bag and then also this thermostat housing gasket that I ended up using in the next episode, other than that there's just little odds and ends of screws and nothing worth really talking about. Okay, everything has been sitting. Let's get a bar back on this bottom crank pulley, or crank bolt, and see if we can get this to turn over. It moves a little and now it is stopped dead. Let's go the other way. Oh yeah. It does take some force, but we are moving. Okay, I am going to take these valve covers off and check all the valves are moving as we rotate this engine. Also, I can't remember if I showed this on the interior, but when I was cleaning the interior, I pushed on the gas pedal a couple of times, and now we have movement, which I didn't think we were going to get, because I know I sprayed these with PV Blaster, but I assumed it was going to be the internals of the carburetors that were locked up, not these linkages, but they're moving free, so it's a good sign. Should probably have a rope around for this. There we go. Okay, moment of truth. First look inside the engine. Gasket is coming with us. Oh, no it's not. Yes it is, which is a good sign. Oh. Okay. So, let me put this head down somewhere, or this valve cover down somewhere. Yeah, I put that right over the carbs in my excitement. We have aluminium roller rockers. says 302. These 302 heads? How would I know? Let me get a light, see if I can see a stamp anywhere. Okay, no, it says, I don't know if you can see that, 289 stamped on this side. I need to look up what this 3/8 inch at a 1.6G. I'm assuming that's like the lift ratio or something. And there is oil sitting down in here. So I don't think this has been sitting for years and years, because oil has got up to the top of the head of this engine at some point recently enough. Let me just see if everything is tight. I do have some marks on these. I'm assuming there's oil on the top of these. Or is that coming from my hand? Yeah, it's coming from my hand. Okay, the more I'm looking at this, I think let's just get a battery in this, it turns over, and put some gas down the carbs and see if this fires. And I get all these spark plug leads back on now, and then after that I think I'm actually going to have to pull this car out of the garage and then push it around the circle to come back in 180 so the exhaust is pointing outwards, because I looked underneath this and this is straight pipes, so in here it's going to be very smoky very quick if it does start, and very loud. So let's go ahead and we'll get the spark plugs back on. I've just realised the whole reason I took the valve covers off was to spin the engine over to see if all the valves were moving. And I've just got excited when I seen that there was aluminium rockers on it. Put the valve covers back on and never checked if everything was moving. So I think I'm just going to put a battery in it, bump the starter and make sure it actually turns over. These weren't even tight. That was stupid. Let's just turn it over and see what happens. Well, what if I'm in gear and the clutch doesn't work? Okay, I'll just give it a tap and see what happens. Hopefully we don't go through the garage door. That sounds good with compression. Oh, and we have our amp gauge is right in the middle. Fuel is empty or not working. Oil pressure, I wonder, can I see it? Just about see it past that giant tack. Let me turn this over again, see if that goes up. No movement, but that's definitely, that's temperature, not pressure, that's why. Okay, I think let's get this thing turned around and just put some gas in and try to fire it. Okay, car's in with the exhaust pointing out, so only thing left to do is to try to start this and see what happens. Battery's charged, let's try that again. Okay, battery charged again. I put way more gas than both carbs and sprayed both carbs with starter fluid. So if it's going to start, it should be now. Okay, we have life in the Mustang. So obviously running a little rough, but I feel like once that actually gets going, gets idling, that'll smooth out a bit. But I think this is where we're going to leave it for this video. I don't know how long it's been at this stage, but it's probably a fairly long video. In the next video, I think we'll gap the plugs. I actually never even checked the firing order with this. Change the oil, fill the coolant up so we're not actually running this thing dry, and then get a look underneath as well. But make sure you like the video and subscribe for the next couple of videos so you don't miss any of the rest of this series, because I'll not be happy until this thing is back on the road and actually driving. So let's make sure we get that done, and thanks for watching.